Alright, if you're not aware, this is called the SongVisualizer. I try to go over it whenever. Basically, it's a Python PyGuitar Pro program, opens a song, visualizes them, so I could play it while singing. Think of it as a session guitarist, reading musical notation. This is the same thing, except I built my own program so I don't have to read actual sheet music. It interprets the sheet music. It goes through each note, half note, whole note, quarter note, dotted note, eighth note, 16th note, whatever, the tempo, time signatures, whatever you want to call them. All that garbage. It comes in a freaking song. It's a ongoing project that I've been writing in. Constantly improving, blah, 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 blah. Don't need to use Rocksmith anymore when I got this program. I despise Rocksmith. Ubisoft in particular. We don't give a crap about you. Ubisoft doesn't care about you. And I think it's pretty cool that this program works in a pretty good way so far. Like, it's detecting my I got to fix the frequency for the double stops, but the whole guitar input logging hits and misses is pretty useful for the dynamic tempo. Let's look at World Blaze, because I never played this one apparently. Oh, I can't open it. Never mind. Okay, that one's not going to work. Let's look at When Darkness Falls, maybe? Okay. Default tempo 180. Oh wow, it goes to 100 for 5 measures. Let's do dynamic max of 90. And just watch it. I never played this one, so I don't know what it's like. What in the world? Why does it have high strings? E and B. First 2 strings. What is this? That's not the Killswitch I know. Who never uses those high strings. Sort by times played ascending. I don't even remember what absolution is like. Not bad so far. A bit fast, of course, always with the open strings. So many open strings, oh my gosh. I don't think I'm ready for this one. What did I put the min? 33, okay. Oh. Whoa, that's a bug. Okay. So... Whoops. Oh, Declaration's pretty good. Oh, I should play Oath. Did I just play Oath? I don't even remember. No, I didn't. Played it last night. Tempo. Dynamic to 89. Yeah, so... I don't know if you're aware of what I'm doing here. Tempo. This groups the measures by the tempo. I just did a dynamic. I changed the tempo to be dynamic based on my recent playthroughs. I go to stats. The last time I played this, 45%. Wow, hit count 400. 500 notes, man. There's a lot of plucking to do in just however many minutes there is. Yep, there's a lot. So this drop C tuning, I got different string size. Burly Slinky. They're 11 to 52s. I'm just trying not to get burned out playing song after song, because these are tiring. The last song I think I hit 1,000 points. Longest streak. So dang. In this instance of Take the South, I got 37 note streak, which is pretty good. That's how I got 900 score out of only 500 hits. Because each 10 I get increases the score. So if I got 37 points, that's like the first 10 I got 1 points. Then from 10 to 20 I got 2 points, and then 20 to 30. Man, there's too much. It's hard to verbalize this. Computer language. Technical. But gonna play some more drop C. Gonna do Take This Oath. Average 87 tempo. Hopefully each time incrementing the tempo. See, here's my stats. Average score 74. What? Average accuracy 37. Average streak 28. Average hit count 380. Average miss count 500. Man. Hopefully the accuracy is getting better since I changed the frequency mapping. There's a file I have that defines each chord, string, fret. It's like 24,000 lines of JSON. Because there's 2 chord, 3 chord variations and its frequency to detect. So this is like a Pygame loop. There's like threads going on. Background task. There's the main game loop. Then there's the input detection from the guitar. It looks at the note that's ready to play at the finish line down here. And it receives the guitar signal, frequency, whatever, and says if it's a hit or a miss of that note at that time. That's pretty cool. That's how my score increments. Every 1 second the score gets updated on the visual GUI side. So that's something that I have to remember. Like I hit a note. If I hit a note, then I have to remember like, oh, it won't show that my score increments until a second later. That's just the way I put it for now in this version, thinking it'd be better on performance to delay the update. Performance for the computer, because you know, the computer, whatever, there's only so much you can do per each frame. Because right now this version, for some reason, it doesn't work with. It's not. I mean, it's not that it doesn't work. It's just the velocity movement is hard to smooth. For the FPS, for example, it seems like you need greater than 60 FPS for it to be smooth, which is kind of confusing. I think that's the case anyway. Whole velocity, dynamic velocity based on frames, calculations, blah, so crazy. But yeah, I even got like the render frame, clear frame, update frame, asynchronous task, which is weird to say in Python, having an asynchronous task. It depends on order, because every time you draw the note, you have to erase the screen. You have to draw a position and erase your previous position, so it doesn't show as like a giant blob on the screen. Instead, it shows like a steady note transitioning down. So, you know, it's weird though in this version. I have to sacrifice accuracy for performance, because I remember a long time ago when I had this update each frame and draw on each frame, it would be accurate with the sustain saying, hey, if the note in this current time is not over, then draw sustain. But I had to change that logic inside over time. Like I changed it to instead don't draw the notes during a frame because that's dumb. I mean, what I mean by dumb is if you draw a Pygame, if you draw anything during a frame, it'll lower performance because that's not what a frame is meant. So what I did is, right when I hit the start button of the song, it draws all the notes on the screen, but you can't see it. It's like invisible. And then when it's time for that note to be ready, it eventually transitions downwards to a visible state with its sustain pre-calculated in length. But the calculation of the sustain is just a guessable number that I threw in to try to be as accurate as I could, but I never quite tuned it out. So every time I see a sustain, I just think, oh man, in that version of this program, SongVisualizer, a year or two ago, back when I had a different update method, I would draw the sustain to be relevant to the current time if the node is still active. But I don't know what to sacrifice for performance. For steady 60 frames per second, I still have to draw all the other things on the screen, and I still have to figure out how to show the user that a palm mute is there. I mean, because the note is so small, and I have text written in the base of the note, but I know that's not effective because you can't read what that text says. It could either say palm mute, slide giver, slide receiver, hammer on giver, hammer on receiver. And I had to say giver receiver because there is one that does the other. It's not just, you have to define that in the program here. So I've slide, hammer on, pull off, bends. I used to have a bend arrow image that would be an up arrow signifying a bend. For some reason I had to disable that when I did some update that I just haven't been able to look back at yet. Because I've been doing a lot. There's a lot going on in this project. This project got the SongVisualizer, the SongCreator. I don't know where I hid that. Oh, right here. The SongCreator I've been working on too. This generates guitar profiles, and recently I made some changes with this on the forcing arrest logic for the lengths for each lead rhythm and alt lead. What I mean by forcing lengths, or sorry, forcing rests, is that each measure, you have the time signature. Let's just do 4/4. I've been having fun on my other computer getting good configurations for song, because I changed the logic regarding forcing arrest. And what that means is when this the SongCreator tries to create a measure, it has to rely on the time signature to know how many note lengths to place, because Guitar Pro requires exact amount of note lengths. So if you have 4/4 time signature, that's a float length of 4.0, whereas each note in length is its own float value. The whole note is length 4.0. The dotted half is a length 3.0. The half is 2.0. Dotted quarter is 1.5. Quarter is 1. Dotted eighth, I think, is, well, let's just keep it at that. But so each length has its own length, float value. And the measure has its own overall float value that it could reach. So 4.0, the time signature, and you got different note lengths that fit into that total of 4.0. So the logic I did in combination with this priority system. So the priority system is each note length gets its configuration of a min, max, and reduce. What that means is that's the current logic anyway. Each note length gets a random priority between the min and max, which is then reduced by the reduce by up until it reaches 0. So there's different configuration. So the note length goes by priority of whatever min and max number is randomly generated here. And then it chooses the highest priority in combination with what note can fit inside of the measure. And there's logic about forcing a rest if no other note could fit. For example, if there's no other note than a 16th or dotted 16th that could fit, then just force it as a rest if it doesn't have the priority to be placed as a non-rest. So it's just things like that, like getting the measure to the perfect float length in combination with player balance of not having too many, or determining what type of notes to place in there, I should say. There's a delicate balance that to try and get that you could alter by adjusting these priorities in combination with each measure priorities in combination with this other toggle. You know what's weird? It turns out I don't know how well you can see it because it's so small on the screen. Sorry about that. This toggle clear priorities when all are at 0. The logic, I had to fix that just like last weekend or whenever. It turns out it wasn't working the way I thought it was. It was completely opposite. So like the logic of this. So the idea is this toggle says clear the note length priorities when they reach 0. Like when only clear the priorities, like only reset the priority. So what I mean is the min and max. This whole length priority is a min and max of 4 and 31. And then you reduce by the reduce by number. So as soon as you get the 0 priority, the minimum amount you can be 0, even though so if you get 0 priority for this note length, it's going to look at this toggle, so clear when all are 0. So if this is checked, it'll require each priority to be 0 before it resets them to another value, because 0 is lowest priority. It won't be chosen unless it's a rest. But otherwise, so like if this toggle is not checked, then as soon as this hits 0, it'll reset itself singularly without waiting for every other note length priority to reach 0. So this toggle is pretty cool. I think it's worth having because I think it does make a difference. So it's whether or not each note waits for every other note priority to reach 0 or not. So like what that does, because what happens is some notes could have other higher priorities than others and just skip the line, even though you just used it, which I don't know if that makes sense. I think it might make sense to wait for them all to take their turn and have their priority reached. So it's pretty cool if you get the right setting that like you see dynamic not dynamic because it's based on priority, but you see like sections that like have variations of note lengths for X amount of measures, and suddenly you see like another pattern emerge because like it's pretty cool to see like a bunch of 8th notes in a row out of nowhere after seeing 18 or what is it? Yeah, a bunch of 8th notes out of nowhere, like 6 in a row. Well, there's even more configurations like how many max 16ths and 8ths you want in a row and in max in a measure, because too many can be a bit much. So that's like a limitation. These are like preset configuration values when initializing the program.